Majestically perched on the center of Addis Ababa, locally known as Arada George, with its ultra-modern architectural design and with close proximity to the Addis Ababa City Administration Complex and the first of its kind in Ethiopian and African history, Adwa Memorial Museum symbolizes the valor and tenacity of Black Africa exhibited against colonial forces who branded Africa as the Dark Continent. The Adwa Victory Memorial Museum commemorates the historic Battle of Adwa, which took place on March 1, 1896. The battle was a significant event in Ethiopian history, as it marked Ethiopia's victory over Italian forces and ensured the country's independence and sovereignty during the scramble for Africa, setting a historic example for the independence movement of African countries back in 1960s. The museum serves as a tribute to the bravery, resilience, and heroism of 120,000 peasant Ethiopian soldiers and leaders who defended their homeland against colonial aggression. It houses a collection of artifacts, documents, photographs, and exhibits related to the Battle of Adwa, Ethiopian history, and the struggle against colonialism. Visitors to the Adwa Victory Memorial Museum can learn about the events leading up to the battle, the strategies and tactics employed by both sides, and the impact of the victory on Ethiopia's national identity and the global anti-colonial movement. The museum also highlights the contributions of key figures such as Emperor Menelik II, Empress Tetu Betel, and some 12 generals who led the Ethiopian victory in a battle that took only 5 hours. In addition to its historical significance, the Adwa Victory Memorial Museum serves as a symbol of pride, unity, and resilience for the Ethiopian people and Africa at large. It is a place of remembrance, reflection, and education, preserving the memory of the Battle of Adwa and its enduring legacy for future generations. The Adwa Memorial Museum has 7 modern assembly halls that can accommodate more than 4,000 persons, amphitheater, modern restaurants and cafe, green area and a gymnasium, underground parking area for visitors' vehicles and other amenities which could provide social services for visitors. The museum is composed of 11 blocks. It also houses the office of Addis Ababa City Council and related IT center. The museum is expected to be one of the main tourist attraction centers in the city and will also serve as a search center for scholars who wish to work on Ethiopian history. Adwa Memorial Museum symbolizes interrelated factors that vividly depict the future of Ethiopia and Africa. The museum is a gift from the current generation of Ethiopians to the future generation that is expected to carry over the historical feats of the Battle of Adwa. It clearly shows the link between Ethiopian patriotism and Pan-Africanism, as well as the extent to which Ethiopia is rooted and positioned both in African history and the socio-cultural fabrics in which all Africans and colored people are woven. Nonetheless, the unique architectural design of the museum is prepared by chief Ethiopian architect who skillfully blended modern and traditional designs, introducing another input into architectural technology by Ethiopian professionals of the highest caliber. Apart from conspicuously depicting unity of purpose and vision of united Ethiopia, it clearly shows the multi-ethnic and age composition of the barefooted peasant soldiers who shed their blood not only for the unity, peace and sovereignty of the country but also for African decolonization more than a century ago. The museum adds up to the learning and research centers not only for Ethiopian universities but also for Pan-African universities across the African region. It depicts how homegrown African culture blended with anti-colonial mindset effectively frustrated imperial colonial ambitions of the Western governments of those days. This museum is a unique magnet that can attract tourists, sociologists, architects, town planners, historians and sociologists alike. Documenting the content of the museum and the artifacts that are displayed in it will be a memorable assignment for the current generation of Ethiopians. Nonetheless, the museum is an economic and educational investment for the future generation that is expected to build up on knowledge-based development programs of Ethiopia. This museum resonates a message on the historical fact that Ethiopians and Africans can achieve anything they plan based on combining modern and homegrown traditional knowledge and technology. This museum is a symbol of peace among all Ethiopians here and overseas, and a good reminder for the current generation to focus not on individual and isolated narrative but a common national narrative that could help to uplift the country to a higher level of development. Adwa Memorial Museum clearly shows the military history of the country during the era of the scramble for Africa, whereby the European colonial powers vowed to share the resources of Africa among themselves. Ethiopian historians and those from overseas can conduct their researches in a splendid location equipped with modern digital technologies that are installed in the museum. The various facilities in the museum provide an excellent venue for promotion of both Ethiopian and African creative arts. It could serve as exhibitions center for African arts from various countries in the continent. Musical festivals from various African countries and local ones could be staged in the halls of the museum, particularly designed for such events. Universities and secondary schools in the country can organize cross-cultural educational tours to Ethiopia for foreign students in Africa and elsewhere, making the Adwa Memorial Museum a hub of such educational tour exchange programs between African students and students across the world. The museum enables students all over the world to have a glimpse of the history of Ethiopia and Africa and will help them to have a positive mindset about Ethiopia and Africa. Although it may be perceived as a war museum, the Adwa Memorial Museum is a living memorial of Ethiopian and African self-assertion and the importance of unity to achieve victory over any challenge, including the battle against poverty. As stated by the author on several contributions, Ethiopia has set a comprehensive example for unity of purpose among African countries. The museum is a venue in which peace and friendship can be cultivated and developed among African youth in their contribution to African economic integration as envisaged in Agenda 2063. Ultimately, the Adwa Memorial Museum is a living bridge linking Ethiopia with the rest of the world in every aspect of inclusive global socio-economic development.